I personally believe, despite all the barking about race and identity and black people and white people and Latinx or whatever they're calling themselves, like, I actually don't think racial divisions are as big a deal as we make them out to be. I have almost never met anybody of a different race who's like mad at me or I'm mad at them. I think we overstate the level of racial division. I just don't experience it at all in my life. I mean, I live in a mostly white area, but I deal with a lot of people, including a couple of really close friends who are not white. That's not even an issue. We're pretending that race is the division when actually politics has supplanted race. This is what I'm just observing, and religion as the main dividing line. It's become its own religion. So, like, people my age, I'm 53, are like, well, I remember when you could be friends with people who voted for different candidates, you know.
Right.
But it's also true, when I was a kid, there was like a meaningful distinction between Protestant and Catholic. I'm Protestant, very Protestant. I didn't ever really ever talk to anyone about Catholicism. I've never met a nun in my life. I just our world was more divided along different lines.
Right.
If I'm just being honest, like, there was more racial division too in 1969 when I was born than there is now. Like, and you see it in the polling. Would you be in 1969 when I was born? If you asked a cross section of Americans, would you be upset if one of your children married outside of your race? And people are much more free to say what they thought then also, but I think the majority would say, oh yeah, for sure. That number has been dropping dramatically. People are, and I certainly feel it myself. But the question of whether you would be one of your children married outside your political affiliation, that's become much clearer. So, in other words, your average liberal or your average conservative, your average Republican, average Democrat is fine. You know, my daughter's marrying some guy from Ethiopia. Okay, great. You know, whatever. He's a good guy. I'm for it. That's how I feel anyway. But most people feel this way. But he's on the other side. He likes Trump or he hates Trump. Like, no, that's a deal killer. So just again, politics has become something very different from what it used to be. It is the dividing line.
Right.
It's fascinating.
Yeah, it really is. And you've seen friendships destroyed over it. You've seen, over if someone took a stand about a vaccine or about January 6th or said something on a social media post, their friendship is done. I mean, they've been
right.
They've been excommunicated, basically because of this. And you see,
well, it's crazy, but that's mostly one way, though. I mean, I wouldn't, obviously, I'm not going to take an untested vaccine because the government tells me to. That's insane. So I didn't. I mean, and I don't judge others who did, but I would never take that. So I did not take the vaccine. No way. And now I'm really happy that I didn't. But I'm not mad at people who did. Like, I have family members who did, loved ones who did. Like, I'm not mad that they took the vaccine. I feel sorry for them secretly, but I wouldn't even say that. But if I go and say, well, I would never take an untested vax, like I trust Pfizer, I don't think so. If I say something like that, people are like very offended even now. And it's really kind of only in one direction. I'm sorry, that has been my experience.